Since we're in the season of Lent, I thought I would tell a story about Ash Wednesday. And that's a short story, so I'm also going to tell about a story about the very first time that I channeled. So if you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and this is my new YouTube channel called Growing Up Shaman, where I tell true stories about non-ordinary reality from the perspective of a shaman. Now, so for those of you who have not been here from the beginning, you may not know that I was actually raised a Mexican American Catholic. And so one of the things that the Catholics do that I absolutely loved was they would celebrate Lent, which is a season of abstinence that is 40 days prior to Easter, where believers will abstain from things that they love to show their love for God. And it was a time of spiritual renewal. So the season is kicked off by Ash Wednesday. So last week, you guys may have seen a bunch of people walking around with ashes in the shape of a cross on their forehead. And that basically is just a mass that they go to kick off the season. And this, so about 10 years ago, my sister and I had both missed this mass. So neither one of us was able to go and get these ashes put on our forehead. And it's because we had forgotten about it. And by the time we figured it out, it was like evening time, and it was just me and her. So we were talking about actually doing it to each other, like me giving her ashes and her giving me ashes. And she didn't believe that we should be doing this, that we were not allowed to do this. And she's no longer Catholic, and I am not either. I mean, I still have the beliefs, but I'm just not a practicing Catholic. I don't go to mass every week like I used to when I was growing up. But my sister, she definitely still goes to church. It's a Methodist church, but still. Um, so, anyways, we were arguing about whether or not we are allowed to put ashes on each other. And my argument was, yes, we are allowed to. And her argument was like, no, it has to be a priest. And so, anyways, I was like, let's just do it anyways, please. So she goes, okay. So we had some ashes and I blessed them. And then I had her put them on me and vice versa. So it was like, that's just the start of our abstinence. And the interesting thing that happened was 6 days later, I was in a shamanic meeting known as Nog, where a bunch of us gathered to basically do journeys and shamanic journeying. And there's all kinds of walks of life in these meetings. Everything from psychics to doctors to healers to witches. You just never know who's going to show up to these meetings because they're open to the public. But anyways, when I was sitting in Nog, 6 days after Ash Wednesday, um, one of my girlfriends who's a psychic who was there, she was sitting on the other side of the room. She was like, "Hey, Tiffany, what's that, on your forehead?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "You got something right here. I don't know what that is, but it's something." And I was like, "What?" And I went and I looked in the mirror. There was nothing, on my forehead. But it dawned on me later on that evening that what she was seeing was the ashes that my sister had placed on my forehead 6 days prior. She was seeing it energetically in the spirit world, where in the physical world, it was completely gone. So I was so excited to tell my sister, hey, guess what? Those ashes that you put on my forehead, they were still there 6 days later, energetically speaking. They were seen by a psychic. And so, anyways, I just thought that was super cool. The reason why I wanted to tell the story about the very first time that I channeled right after my Ash Wednesday story is because it's a story about finding my faith. Funny thing about faith is you don't know you've lost it until you need it and it's not there. So this story begins when I was 16 years old. I didn't know what was going on, but I was asleep when I began to feel something enter me from the soles of my feet. And this spirit seemed to come in slowly. And it felt warm, it felt inviting, it felt seductive, it felt comforting, and I was being lulled by it. Quite honestly, I mean, I was enjoying it. And then something deep inside of me suddenly recognized, hey, this isn't you. This is foreign. And I wouldn't necessarily say it was negative or positive, just that it was foreign. And I felt the need to get rid of it. I did not want this inside of me. And so I remembered something that I had read in the Bible where Jesus spoke of having dominion over the spirits. And if you had faith, that you were able to, reject them essentially and tell them to leave, and that they would if you had faith. So that's what I did. I began to muster up the words of, in the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to leave. But the thing is, I had the toughest time speaking those words. They just didn't want to come out of my mouth. I struggled and struggled. And until I could say those words, this spirit was in me. And when I finally was able to get these words out of my mouth, suddenly this spirit just rushed out of me. It just flew completely out of me, out of the top of my head, and it was gone. And I was so freaked out by that. I didn't know what to make of it. And so on the second night, when this happened again, it was easier for me to find my faith. It was easier for me to recognize that there was something foreign inside of me. And then it was easier for me to say those words, in the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to leave. It was still hard, but it was easier. And then once those words came out of my mouth, once again, the spirit left through the top of my head. And then on the third night, the same thing happened. It entered through the soles of my feet, began to fill my body. I immediately recognized it. I immediately spoke the words that had worked the 2 nights previously, and it came so much more easily. Those words just came right out of me. And as soon as I said it, that spirit was gone once again. Now, I've asked myself, what was that spirit? Was it good? Was it bad? I don't know. It felt like an energy, a sexual energy, to be honest with you. And maybe it was just my hormones, going crazy. But that's not what I believe. I believe that I was channeling, and I was channeling a spirit of sexual energy, and I rejected it. I don't know if that was for the best or for the worst, but I just was not used to channeling, and I just rejected it because it felt foreign. And so, even though, this story isn't about what spirit it was that was trying to inhabit my body, this story is more about faith, finding your faith, and what that faith can do for you, how you can have dominion over spirits with the tiniest amount of faith. All you need is a mustard seed's worth. I have found that anytime I've had any kind of magical experiences in my life, there have always been three ingredients that are necessary. One is an open heart. An open heart can mean many things. Basically, when you're having a strong emotion, whether that be love or fear, that is a open heart. The second thing you need is to surrender. Now, surrendering can be very difficult for people who have control issues or who have been through traumatic experiences. And the third thing that you need is faith. Just a mustard seed's amount. That's all you need. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this story. If you did, don't forget to give the video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.